Hazel.
It's Katie.
And welcome back to Hazel and Katie Questions. Today we're going to be doing a video on
our opinion on bits.
So, if you don't know what a bit is, we're not judging. If you just don't know what a bit is, it's something that, and if you don't know much about horses or you're not in question and you're just watching this video for fun, a bit is something that goes in a horse's mouth when you're riding. And some people do bitless, which is basically, well, they use pressure on the face instead of in the mouth. And that's a very controversial topic itself that we're not going to be going into in this video, bits or bitless. But yeah, most people use bits. It's the most common, and yeah. So we're just going to do all opinion. Before we start this video, we want to clarify that this is all opinion and all opinion only. You don't have to agree with everything we say, and you can put your opinions on each bit, or if you agree or disagree in the comments if you want, but you don't have to agree with everything we say. This is all simple opinions.
Yeah.
So I guess we should start off with the most basic English bit. This is a snaffle. Snaffles are usually used in almost always used in English, but you can also use them in Western. It's an English bit, but some Western people use them. There's a whole variety of different types of English snaffles, and we'll be going into more types, but this is the most common. This is the loose wings basic snaffle. This mouthpiece is just a 2-joint mouthpiece or whatever you call it, and this is the most common in English that I think people use. So it's just it's a very common bit for English, like I said, and it's my opinion. I'll say mine, and I'll give it to Katie to say more things about it. But my opinion on this bit is it's a good bit. I've actually tried this bit on my horse before, and my horse, Macho, does not like this bit at all. It really irritated him in the way it can have something called the nutcracker effect, which is fairly rare. It can happen, though, where basically this thing like pinches the tongue and goes up to the top of the mouth, and it can be damaging. So, personally, I don't use this bit for that reason, and my horse did not like it when it did that. It just really irritated him. It can get snagged on the tongue a little bit. That's what happened to my horse, and he hated that. So, I don't use this bit, but I think this is a good bit for a lot of English people. There's obviously different types of cheek pieces. There was the the loose wing, which is this. There's also the egg butt and the D-wing. They all have different uses. The egg butt, this can actually pinch the side of the mouth. So usually people use the egg butt instead of the loose wing if they don't want it to pinch. There's also, some companies make ones where you can actually, there's the sides thicker along here, so it just can't pinch. If you want to use the loose wing, they're all a little bit different, each cheek piece.
Yeah, so my opinion on this bit is, I personally don't use it for my horse because when I got her, I asked what type of bit they were using on her just so that I knew ahead of time. And they said that her favorite bit was, I don't know what they called it, but a broken bit. They said her favorite bit was a broken bit, so I got one from Tractor Supply and sent her a picture and asked if that was it, and she said yeah. But in the picture, they were actually using a tom thumb, so I don't think they were very educated about bits. So, in the beginning, I was using this on her, but later on, I found that I don't think it was a little small for her, and I really don't think she liked the fact that it was kind of small and it would pinch on the side a little bit and the ring would slide in her mouth a little bit. So I don't use this bit on her, and I think the other bit I'm using on her right now she likes better. So I think my opinion is I don't personally use it because Ginger doesn't like it, but if your horse does well with this bit, I think it's fine to use. Yeah, of course it can occasionally do the nutcracker effect and pinch a little bit, but most of the time it doesn't, especially, yeah, like you said, on a wider surface. So yeah,
We're also going to be eating Talkies, if you're wondering. The next bit I'll show you guys is the bit me and Katie both use. He's sitting in my vital bag. This is the loose wing snaffle. That's a flinch-link loose wing. Obviously, you can tell you can obviously tell, first of all, this one has 3 pieces and this one has 2. As Katie said, like a broken bit, some people call it, I guess. Well, it's just 1 link, but this is a 3 link. Like a 2 link, I mean, sorry. So, generally this is a lot softer because it can't do the nutcracker effect. Because you see, if you do this, it's a wide thing, so it can't pinch it. Occasionally, if you have certain types it could pinch it, but it would be very difficult to pinch it. So that's just kind of out of the picture, pinching. And also, as you can see, the sides, at least for this one, is a lot thicker than the last one, which releases, like, it's more of a wide, the thick sides are better than thinner sides usually, unless it's too big for your horse, obviously. But I generally love this bit. I feel like if you can put your horse in this bit, this is the softest bit you can put your horse in. Obviously, if your horse goes better in another bit or likes another bit more, I still would say that this is my favorite bit because it's the softest bit, and I feel like if your horse can go in it, then have your horse go in it, because me and Katie both have the same reaction from both of our horses. Generally, my horse, before I got him, they had one of this bit, except it was a D-ring. So he was fine with that, but, obviously, if you can make them have a softer bit, then make them have a softer bit if they go just as well.
This is also the bit I use on Ginger. I think it's a great bit to use, honestly. Like, I mean, yeah, if your horse goes well in it, it's softer, why not? But, I mean, some horses, of course, softer bits are nice, but, like, see my sister's horse, using this bit, she would constantly be opening her mouth, constantly chewing on it, just constantly gnawing on it, like, all horses are different, so I think Lily personally liked the 1 link better. I mean, it's hard to tell with horses.
Yeah.
Whether they actually like it or if they're just chewing on it or playing with it, it's hard to tell. But all horses are different, but Ginger personally really goes well in this bit. One thing that's not good for Ginger, she's got a smaller mouth, it's kind of weird because she's 16 hands, but she's a cob size. And so the sides on this bit are actually a little too wide for her, so that's why I'm getting, for some horses, instead of getting the thicker sides so that it can't pinch, there's another bit you can get that has pinchless, but the sides are a little thinner. So that's what I'm getting for Ginger, and so yeah, I really think if your horse can go in this bit, it's really great to use, since it can't do the nutcracker effect. Wedging my finger into it and pulling, it does a tiny bit of pinching. Like, it's really...
Yeah, way less than this, and that's a lot less likely to happen.
Yeah, like, it's pretty... I don't see how on a surface this could truly pinch. And I just think it's an overall great bit to use, and yeah.
So, next snaffle bit, I gotta get my notes out because I don't know that much about this one, is the Waterford. And we're not going to be talking about every single type of snaffle bit, every single type of Western bit, just a little bit of a range. So, the Waterford bit, I'll put a picture up somewhere on the screen, is, obviously, you can see the picture, it has these little small links. It kind of looks like what this is, it looks like these little things, but a bunch of them. And it's totally different than like a bite chain bit. It's totally different. I personally don't have one. I don't have one for my horse, never tried one for my horse, but I feel like this bit can be a little harsh if you use it in harsh hands. Obviously, that term, I feel like that term's a little bit overused, because I feel like every bit's different and every person's hands are different, and if you have a horse that you need to be stern in your hands with, I think you should use definitely a softer bit. Personally, I feel like the Waterford, it can make a sawing action in the mouth and leave mouth damage if used incorrectly. But I feel like if you use that bit, I don't feel like I'd ever, like if I saw my horse wasn't going good in any other bit and I tried that Waterford and he went well in it and listened to what I said and I just saw a big improvement in him, I'd definitely use it. I don't feel like there's anything necessarily terrible about using it, but I feel like obviously if you can use a softer bit on your horse, use a softer bit because it can be pretty harsh if you use it harshly. But if you use it in soft hands, it's obviously harsher than one of these or the one we just showed you that we use for our horses. But if you need to use it, then obviously, in my opinion, it's an okay bit. But I feel like obviously if you can use a softer bit, like I just said, use a softer bit than that. But I feel like it's a good bit and I definitely would use it if I had to.
Yeah, so my opinion on the Waterford is definitely don't use it if you don't need to. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a harsher bit, but as far as a lot of snaffles, I guess it would be considered kind of on the harsher side as far as snaffles go, because they're generally a softer type of bit. So yeah, I don't personally think I'd ever try this bit on Ginger just because, unless she really started going bad and I couldn't find a bit she could use and I wanted to try it. Yeah, so I just think, don't use it if you don't have to.
So the next bit, we're gonna move on to Western bits, I guess. You think so?
Yeah.
I don't feel like there's really any other bits we should talk about on the snaffle category. But the Western bits, there's different types of Western bits. Like there's just different types of snaffles. So next bit we're both gonna be talking about is the Tom Thumb. This is the Tom Thumb. We actually have one of them because it was like $1 and we just bought it just for looks and for demonstrating. So it was really cheap and it was used. As you can see, it's kind of, usually there's another little piece right here and it's broken off on both sides. So it's definitely used on this side too. I think it's broken off, unless it was just made that way, which doesn't make sense to me. But this is a very harsh bit and people argue about what's the harshest bit, and personally I think this is the harshest bit and a lot of people think this too. This is very common in the Western community, the Western disciplines or whatever, and which is sad because it's a very harsh bit, and at first glance you would think, wow, the same bit, but it's totally different because you see you see the shanks, they're fairly long, and so basically the shanks make a huge difference. And this is the same, it looks about the same mouthpiece, and it is about the same mouthpiece. It's a little differently shaped, and obviously it's a different bit, so it's going to be a little different, but most of the time these are two of the same mouthpiece. And obviously, since the same mouthpiece, it still can do the nutcracker effect, which is another downside.
Yeah, I definitely think the longer the shanks, like, the worse the bit.
Yeah, most of the time.
Yeah. Most of the time. It's just, it adds a whole lot more pressure because of all the weight. Just making it a lot
all the
worse.
Weight and all the, the more shank, it's mostly, there's Tom Thumbs with smaller shanks. I agree on that, and there's obviously Tom Thumbs with smaller shanks. Every bit has different size shanks.
Either way, no matter what Tom Thumb you use, they're going to be really harsh.
Yes. Every Tom Thumb you're going to use, it's just going to be just as harsh as the next. So, basically what I'm saying is, this bit, so it's in my mouth, I'm a horse, it's in my mouth. So, the rider's pulling 1 pound of pressure. I'm going to feel that times 3. So, generally, that sounds, just times 3, that's not that much. But this bit, it's in my mouth. Any snaffle with the wings, it does not matter which wing, does not matter which mouthpiece. The rider's going to pull 1 pound. I'm going to feel 1 pound. That's the same. And it's not likely you're going to pull 1 pound on the horse's mouth unless you really need to make a sharp turn or do something like that. But still, that's 3 times as much as you would ever pull on the horse's mouth rather than just 1 time with the snaffle. And I don't know every different type of Western bit, how much leverage it has, but what I've read is leverage bits, you pull times 1, the horse feels times 3. And I don't know if that's for every leverage bit or just the tom thumb, but people like to argue. Katie has someone who uses a snaffle and I use a tom thumb. I would say to someone who uses a snaffle, that's the tom thumb's not good. Or even if you don't use a snaffle, if you just think the tom thumb's not as good. I would say the snaffle, you pull 1 pound, so you have to pull more since it's not as much on the horse's mouth. So say with the tom thumb, you just have to pull 1 pound since they feel that times 3. But for this one, you have to pull a ton more because they feel it the same as much as you pull. And here's why that's wrong. It's because that just, in my brain, when I think about some people argue that, it just does not make any sense to me. And I get that some people think that, and I feel like not that many people do, but some people do. A lot of people who use the tom thumb acknowledge its harshness, but I don't know why they still use it, and I know it works for, if it works for your horse, I don't care, you should still try and use a softer bit.
Tom thumb, just resting it in my hand, it's pinching and it hurts. Even with a wide amount of pressure, I feel the heaviness.
And the shanks are the main reason because of that.
And in a horse's tongue, there's so many nerves. They're going to feel it more than what my hand feels. A lot more than what my hand feels right now. So I can't imagine. And say this pencil, say this pencil sharpener, I'd say it might not even be 3 pounds. And I can't imagine this much force pounding towards my mouth. That's a lot. That's probably not even 3 pounds.
I don't know how many pounds. This is probably not even 3 pounds.
I don't think it's 3 pounds, but
this is 1 or 2 pounds.
That much force, I can't imagine how bad that must feel, along with the pinching of it. It just really shouldn't be, but it shouldn't.
This should be, in my opinion, it should be banned everywhere, even just to be used for basic use, not just in competitions. And obviously, this is a Western bit. I've never seen an English idol use a tom thumb. Never. That's a Western bit that no. Generally, my opinion is Western bits are generally harsher than English bits. And a lot of Western idols I see that use snaffles or use something like a gag bit that's not that harsh. But the tom thumb, I heard someone once say this, so this is not coming out of my own mouth. I'm not a Western idol, and I don't know everything about Western bits, but I am educated about them, and I have done a lot of research for my own sake and for this video. So I did hear someone say that even if this is just resting in the horse's mouth without you're not touching the reins. The reins is on the horse's neck. You don't even have reins. Just in the horse's mouth, due to the heaviness of the shanks and just the harshness of the bit, the horse is still going to feel the same amount of pressure. Not the same amount of pressure. The horse is still going to feel it, and it's still going to be very painful for the horse, even if it's just a resting position.
Yeah, I fully agree with those statements. I mean, you couldn't pay me to use such a harsh bit. And it's not just, what I'm finding is it's not just the one link in the middle. Even in resting position, this is really heavy.
Yeah, and it's
really uncomfortable in my hand. And on the sides too, if I put my fingers right here and turn it also pinches pretty bad.
Yeah, and as you would maybe say earlier, I said they have the same link in their mouth. But this shanks are a lot more heavy and a lot more pressure distributed. You pull on this, you feel a lot more pressure in there.
Yeah.
Than this. So it's a lot different. You cannot make an argument that these are the same bits, the same amount of harshness.
No joke, I just rested on my hand and it pinched and it hurt really bad.
Yeah, I see it on your hand.
It hurts really bad for me to just pull.
And a horse's tongue, as you said earlier, has a lot more pressure. So I fully disagree with this bit.
Yeah.
So the next bit we're going to be talking about is a cold bit. So we actually have one of these bits, but we don't have it here today. But the bit we have is called, I'll put a picture up here, it's called a Western CP low put cold bit. Cold bits usually have the little curb, like a little curb in the middle, and usually are Western bits with shanks. Not usually, I think all the time. So for me, my opinion on cold bits, I have a tom-thumb in my hand up. It's just a little curve, like I've already said, and there's different types. I'll put pictures up, and I generally think this bit's an okay bit to use. I feel like if I needed to use one of these a bit like that on my horse, I'd try it. If I needed to, honestly, like every bit, if you can do softer, do softer. But I feel like for most horses, this is a good bit. I've seen a lot of people that use this bit on the horse, and the bit goes great in it. The horse goes great in it, and doesn't mind it at all. Now, my opinion on any bit is that if your horse is going to, I feel like people say my horse likes this bit better, and the more correct term for that is my horse goes better on this bit, because your horse may not be able to steer well, you might not have as much control with, like, per se a snaffle, but your horse 9 out of the 10 times is gonna like this bit more than it's gonna like another bit that's a lot harsher, like a tom thumb. There's no way your horse is gonna like a tom thumb more than this bit.
So I pretty much have the same opinion. Like, we have a curb bit. Well, I do. And so I think, I'm going to try it on Ginger someday, just kind of like for the fun of it,
Yeah, it's
not
fun to try new bits.
I would never do her in that bit unless, like, even if she did, like, pretty good in it, I still wouldn't, because, the softer bit, she still goes good, and so, like, why not? But, I'm going to try it someday, just for the fun of it, see how it works, just kind of test out the bit, which I don't think it's a terrible bit to use. Of course, use a softer bit if you can, but I don't think it's a really harsh bit, and I think if it works well for your horse, then that's a fine bit to use, just whatever, your horse goes best in.
Yeah, so obviously with soft hands with that bit, I feel like you have to have a lot softer hands than you do for, say, a snaffle, but I honestly feel like it's a good bit to use if it works for you. So the next bit, I think me and Katie both have the same opinion on, I'll let you start, Katie, about it, is the spade bit. I'll put pictures, there's different types, there's a bunch of different types. Fortunately, this bit is not used very often. It's a Western bit, like I said, and fortunately, this bit is it's not many people use it at all anymore, which is good.
Yeah, so I would never, ever, ever try this bit on my horse. I would never use it on my horse, honestly. It really shouldn't be a thing. It's, like, for me, behind the tom thumb, like, the worst bit, like, in my opinion. Like, I'm sure if I did more research, I might could find a harsher one, but just as far as I'm concerned of bit-wise. And, yeah, as you can see in the picture, it's got this huge, arch in the middle. It's not like a curved bit.
No, curved bits are so different.
It's not even close to a curved bit.
Curved bits are so much more subtle. This one has this huge, thick piece that goes like this, and there's some curved bits that have this big thing, bigger than others, and I don't fully agree with those, the types of curved bits with really big things in the middle, really big arches, but that's not even, a spade bit's not even close to a curved bit. It's so much harsher. And for me, honestly, I would not even ever put that in my horse's mouth. I don't care how much you would pay me. I feel like in no way, shape, or form a spade bit would ever be comfortable just sitting in a horse's mouth. I don't care how much pressure, I don't care all that stuff. I don't care anything. Just the size of it scares me. I just think there's no way that could ever be comfortable in a horse's mouth, or the horse could ever like that.
Yeah, like, I've seen a video of this person, they were saying their favorite bits, and, like, a spade was one of them, but I honestly don't see how, the only reason I could see you would use this bit and, like, being like, oh, that's a good bit is because, like, your horse would, like, really respond to it, and the only reason is because of pain. Like, they're responding to the pain in your mouth. I'm not saying that's with all bits. Not all horses respond, like, with the pain in their mouth. Like, a lot of bits are harmless. I'm saying personally, the spade bit and the Tom Thumb, like, you can't use that bit without there being any pain. There's no way. Like, that's why your horse is responding so good.
Like, any bit, I so much agree with that. Any bit, like a snaffle or any other type of bit, other than, like, those two I just named, and obviously there's a lot more, like a bite chain bit. So many more bits that I'm not going to go into depth about that I would never even, like, you could not pay me $1 million to use on my horse or even put in my horse's mouth that I'm not going to go into depth about. We're just talking about a wide range of different types of bits, not every bit. There's some we're going to miss out. Please don't let us know about the ones we missed out. But I just feel like generally some people like to say, oh, my horse responds to this one so well, so they like it. Your horse does not like it, they're just responding to the pain. And that has to do with like the spade bit or like the Tom Thumb. And yeah, I so much agree with that, Katie. I just feel like I just do not agree with the spade bit at all.
Yeah, and another thing about it is the huge arch, it's not laying flat on their tongue like it can, but like it's poking through with their mouth, causing a whole lot of pain.
Yeah, I don't even see how that could work well
I don't
for
even
anybody.
know. So these bits are just so harsh. Like, I can't imagine the terrible pain eating, just constantly feeling that bruise of that large amount of pressure pressed up against their mouth.
And all the pressure, almost all the pressure, it's not just at the bars of the bit, it's at the top too. Same for cork bits, but the cork bits are very subtle little corks. And if I'm being honest, the spade bit is just if you use it, you should not own a horse. And I don't know if you guys know this person on TikTok. I don't want to bash them or anything, but there's this one person on TikTok. I'm not going to say their name or anything. I think Katie, you know what I'm talking about. When she said it was her favorite bit, she showed all these bits in her collection, and she has a lot of abusive ways of training, but she was saying how much she likes this bit, and she's like, oh, it works so well for me. Oh my goodness, all my horses love it. Your horse does not love it. And she even made the point to say that my horse that likes to play with a bit just loves playing with it. Any horse would be playing with it. Any horse that was just going crazy over it because it's so uncomfortable on them. My horse likes to play with the bit, and I've had everything checked, and my horse is fine. But I know for a fact I'm using a soft bit, and I know that he just likes playing with it. But I'm not going to be like, oh, since he likes playing with it, I'm going to put something so much bigger in his mouth for him to play with. Because that's just going to cause him more pain and more discomfort. And the reason he'd be playing with it then is because of the pain. And because it's so big and uncomfortable.
Yeah, like the curved bit, like, you know, that can't really, just a curved bit, can't really poke through from their mouth.
It's barely up.
Yeah, and spades, like, it's terrible because all that pressure is combined into one little spot in their mouth, creating so much pain. So, like, I would just never use this bit on my horse. I think
it should be banned.
Yeah,
I wouldn't just
be a bit.
I wouldn't just not use it on my horse. I just feel like it should not be used on any horse. And I don't care how well your horse does in it. You need to find another bit. So yeah, that's basically it for all the bits we're talking about today. This is a long video, and I'm definitely editing a lot of it out. But obviously, like we said in the beginning, all opinions. Please don't comment anything negative. We're going to leave the comments open. You're free to talk about your opinions on bits and stuff. But yeah, that's it for this video.
And maybe if you want us to do a second episode on, you know, more different types of bits and our opinions.
Or bits or bitless.
Yeah, that's
comment down
another
below.
one that we should do a video on. But yeah, pretty much just our opinions.
Yeah.
Please don't go in the comments like you were saying and say
and bash people about their opinions.
I disagree with that because that's wrong and you're wrong about it. Just you can say your opinion. Just please don't tell us we're wrong about anything.
And please don't bash people if they say their opinion. Don't get mad at them for their opinion because everybody has different opinions. Comment down below other video ideas. Our next video will be a riding video where we switch horses and do like all ride. Katie's gonna be riding Macho. I'll be riding Ginger. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching.
You for watching.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace.